Hey, welcome to Downshift. My name is Matt, and this is the Ford Maverick, and it's Ford's answer to trucks getting bigger and more expensive. There's a lot to love about this little Maverick, but nothing is perfect, so we're hitting the highlights, the best and the rest, starting with the rest. First thing that we're going to talk about is there's no hybrid all-wheel drive. This is a little bit annoying, but the base engine here is the 2.5 liter hybridized 4-cylinder. It's the one that we have here in this specific truck, and you can only get the 2.5 hybrid in front wheel drive. If you want all-wheel drive, you have to go up to the 2-liter turbocharged engine, which of course is quite a bit less efficient. Number two, we're going to talk about some tech stuff, and I'm going to preface this point by saying at this price point here, I'm not really bothered by a lot of this stuff. But you don't have adaptive cruise, you don't have active lane keep assist or lane centering, but you do have a blind spot monitor. You don't have a 360 camera, and you also don't have ambient lighting here. And if I'm really nitpicking, this center screen is only 8 inches, which is kind of small, and we dinged the Cadillac CT4 last week for that. But the fact is, all Mavericks come standard with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Of course, it's wired, but for me, that's what I'm looking for, so it's fine with me. And number three is the Sunroof Thing. Now this is the Lariat trim, which is the top trim, and it has the Lariat Luxe package, which is a couple $1,000. And yet, if I want a sunroof, I still have to pay almost $1,000 more. Feels like it should be included in the Lariat Luxe package, no? Okay, and number four, we have to talk about truck stuff. Now I know this is a little bit difficult to discuss because this is the lightest of light-duty trucks, but it is a truck, it has a bed, so let's talk about it. You can get this Maverick in this configuration exclusively with the crew cab and the 4.5-foot bed. The tailgate isn't damped, but it is height adjustable and has bottle openers on either side. You get a max payload of 1,500 pounds, which is pretty good, and you get a 120 volt outlet in the back, which is pretty nice. But your towing maxes out on this hybrid trim at 2,000 pounds. Now, if you go up to the turbo engine, your towing increases to 4,000 pounds. However, the Hyundai Santa Cruz, the main competitor to this car, brings 5,000 pounds of towing, so another 1,000 pounds. So technically, Ford has been out-trucked by a Hyundai. But now switching gears and talking about the good stuff, one of the best things about this Maverick is the fact that it's cheap. This is the smallest and cheapest thing that Ford sells today. It starts at $22,600, which gets you the hybrid and 45 mpg, at least what I've been seeing this week, and that's insane. This tester is loaded up to just about the max and comes in at $35,000. And at that price, it's bringing a lot of great stuff. And if you thought you were going to save yourself a little bit of money by getting a used Maverick, you're a little bit out of luck because a lot of these trucks, even a year, 2 years old, they're still selling for right about where they were MSRP, sometimes even more. Number two is the drive, and I put this on the good side of the video because it's just fine. It's not amazing, it's not terrible, but again, we look at this through the lens of how inexpensive this thing is. Sure, there's a bit of cabin noise, it's not super fast. This 2.5 hybrid makes 190 horsepower and 155 pound-feet of torque, but I've been getting almost 45 mpg. I've actually been getting 45.1 mpg this week. Of course, the turbo is quicker, but I don't really care because it's not quick enough to be super exciting. The visibility is great here. The ride is decent. The transition between gas and electric is pretty seamless. With the music on, you're really not going to notice the engine kick in, of course, unless you're going to floor it, and you're going to hear it more than you feel it, is I guess what I'm saying. And it's just super easy to live with. I do wish it had adaptive cruise and some lane centering, but again, price, so it's fine. The only thing that I will say is the brakes are very, very bitey, so it does take a couple days to kind of get used to it, but that's the hybrid system working. So overall, pretty good. And number three is the interior. This isn't even the crazy blue and orange and white interior that you get on some trims. This is the more subdued trim, but this is still a really cool and unique interior. You've got loads of different textures on just about every panel in here. You've got a bunch of different colors from the top of the dash to the center of the dash to your seats to your center console. You have this bluish color on the door card, and on the top of your dash is a different color blue, and then on the dash itself you have these hex bolts exposed kind of all around the truck. I mean, like I said, it gets even crazier from here, but one of the little Easter eggs that I like is the Built Ford Tough stamped on each end of the dash when you open up the door. And number four is the shocking spaciousness that you have on this thing. This thing is about tip to tail as long as a Honda Accord, and that includes the 4.5-foot bed and the comically long rear bumper, and yet I can still sit in the back seat here at 6'1" pretty comfortably. I mean, yes, my knees hit the front seat, so I kind of have to straddle it, but for this size truck to still offer 4 full doors and be able to put 2 adults back here comfortably is a huge win. And look at all the headroom that I have back here. It's even more in the front seat. And of course the back seat is outfitted with 120 volt outlet, USB-C, USB-A, little place to put 3D printed stuff, dual map pockets, cup holders. I mean, you got a power window back here. It's impressive. And number 5, this thing looks cool. Now, is it the most beautiful thing I've ever seen? No, of course not. But it does look unmistakably like a truck, something that can't be said about its main rival, the Hyundai Santa Cruz. You've got subtle but distinctive LED running lights. You've got grille accents that go into the headlight and split on each side. And you've got this cactus gray paint, which I think looks fantastic. And you have the black package, which means your wheels get blacked out, along with your wing mirrors and your window treatments and your front fender badging that says Lariat. Your wheels are wrapped in Michelin Primacy tires to maximize your fuel economy as well. And of course, you still have the code lock on the driver's door in classic Ford fashion. And of course, you've got LED taillights, and you've got Maverick stamped into the tailgate, and the rear bumper that sticks out as far as my chin. Overall, I think it looks pretty good. And 6th and finally, there's a bunch of clever storage all around the interior. Your door bins here, for example, are designed to fit water bottles and a bunch of other stuff. Your center console is a collection of cup holders, trays, and bins. There's even storage bins on your dash. And of course, the rear seats fold up for more cubbies. They also fold down, but you're not really gonna fit anything back there. And the bed even has its own little cubby back here. Sweet. But now for some of the odds and ends I noticed this week. You do have the cubby, like I just mentioned, but you also have a secret cubby that goes down even further. Also, notice how your license plate isn't centered? Maybe it's just from the driving position, but it seems like the center screen is slanted down a little bit. And lastly, we have this trio of weird buttons. This is your brake hold, which is super aggressive. If you have this on, you have to hit the throttle to get going, and then you lurch forward super hard, so I might leave that off. This is your traction icon, which is a strange traction icon, and this is your drive mode selector, race flag, snowflake, and the leaf for eco mode. And of course, you also have like 3 more drive modes, so I guess weird. So that's the best and the rest of the Ford Maverick. No, it's not perfect, but it is really, really good, and it brings a huge bang for your buck. So I have to say, I'm a big fan. So thanks to Ford for letting me have a go in this, and we'll see you in the next one.